So my last video talked a little bit about how I got how I got up to 370 pounds. And I think in this one I'll talk a little bit about what keeps you from taking that first step. So I mentioned that I stepped on a scale, wasn't really prepared for the number that I saw, and afterwards thought I do need to do something about this. And that was the first step of many failures. And I think that's the biggest challenge or the biggest fear in getting started, is that initial fear of failure. And then the fear of failure every single time you go to start again. The truth is, when you're going to lose a significant amount of weight and when you're going to make a big body composition change, you're going to fail regularly. I cannot countless number of times did I start a weight loss phase and within a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, maybe 6 weeks sometimes, make some significant progress and then either gain it all back, gain most of it back, fall off the wagon, so to speak, go back to my other habits. And it would take time to gain the courage to start again. And I think that initial fear of failure and that continual fear of failure is what causes a lot of pause. It is a big step. Oftentimes, you talk about making a change and others see that and then it doesn't happen, or it does happen, but then you revert back to your previous habits or you revert back to the previous weight. And you start to see that yo-yo effect, and then you begin to wonder, do I have it in me to make the change? And do I have it in me for this change to continue? Do I have it in me to reach my overall goals? Or am I going to accept my fate and not be willing to continue to try? And I think that there are silver linings to each attempt at weight loss, and I think that there are opportunities to learn, to better understand yourself, and to bolster your own resiliency each and every time you start. I think that as you go through those periods, you begin to form what is something that really works for you. And as you start to have some success and you start to put some of the bigger numbers behind you and the weight begins to maintain lower and lower after each successful and successive weight loss phase, that you can start to look back and find that, oh, I did do that very well in the last period, and I did really do a good job of that, and my habits have changed and I made better decisions. I was more cognizant of what I was doing. I didn't let emotion necessarily get in the way. And I think that, as you really solidify that success, leaning back into that and noting that you've had some wins along the way is an exceptional way to really build up your self-confidence. Most of us that have gone through significant weight loss started with likely a lack of self-confidence, and probably some detractors along the way, maybe not being your biggest fans and being the most supportive, often loved ones, and so or those that you would consider friends, and so you have to accept the fear of failure. You have to do your best to face it, look at it, as an opportunity to be successful, look at it as a learning opportunity, utilizing things like journaling so that you can go back and see the progress that you've made and really identify what were some of those triggers for success, can go a long way. But I think that's really the hardest first step, is each time you take a first step, it's that fear of failure. And the more you face it, the better you get at overcoming it. And so ensuring that you don't give up, that it's okay, it's reasonable to expect some fear going into it because you are committing to some significant changes potentially, and that you're not alone in feeling that way. There are many people that will feel the same way in the same moment when they decide to make that initial step, and every successive step afterward, even after you fail. There's always another day, there's always another opportunity, and another chance at that first step. If you can stack enough of those first steps together, and every time that you have a little setback, you press on, you can do some pretty amazing things and make some pretty amazing progress.